If you're tired of pretending everything is fine. If you're quietly breaking inside while smiling on the outside. If you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered, who am I really? Then this video is for you. Because what if the pain you're feeling isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign of awakening? What if you're not lost, but in the process of becoming? This isn't just another motivational video. This is a mirror. And maybe, for the first time, you'll see not who the world told you to be, but the person you were always meant to become. Stay with me until the end. Something in you already knows you're ready. There comes a moment in every person's life when the roles we've learned to play begin to feel tight, like clothes we've outgrown. We smile when expected, agree when it's polite, and live according to rules written by someone else. At first, this helps us feel accepted. We fit in. But eventually, something begins to ache deep inside, a quiet whisper that asks, is this really me? Most people ignore the whisper. It's easier that way. Life is busy, and there's always something urgent calling for attention. But for some, the whisper grows louder. It starts to echo in empty conversations, in moments of silence after an argument, or in the stillness just before sleep. One day, you stop and really listen. That's where the journey begins, not with a bang, but with a question. A subtle, honest moment of asking yourself, what if I'm not who I thought I was? At first, it feels like standing in front of a mirror in the dark. You sense there's something, or someone, on the other side, but it's hard to see clearly. You try to remember what you once loved as a child, what made your heart beat faster, what you used to dream of before you learned to doubt yourself. Then you realize, much of what you are now is a performance. You became what others needed. A responsible daughter. A strong man. A charming friend. A good worker. A likable partner. But in becoming all these roles, you've forgotten the one thing that matters most, who you truly are when no one is watching. This isn't about quitting your job or running away to the mountains, though some people do. It's about peeling away the layers you've built to survive. It's about meeting the parts of you that you've hidden, buried, or ignored for years. And surprisingly, some of those parts carry your greatest strength. It's uncomfortable, yes. The first time you meet your shadow, those thoughts, feelings, or memories you were taught to be ashamed of, it might feel like a betrayal. But here's the truth, the shadow isn't bad. It's just forgotten. And like any child left alone too long, it acts out until you finally pay attention. As you begin to reclaim these pieces, something remarkable happens. You start to feel whole. Not perfect, not flawless, but real. You no longer need everyone to like you. You don't fear being misunderstood. You speak from a place deeper than opinion. You begin to live in alignment with something ancient, quiet, and wise inside you. So, you begin the journey. At first, it's clumsy. Like learning to walk again after years of pretending to dance. You start noticing how often you say yes when you want to say no. You catch yourself laughing when nothing is funny. You realize how often you shrink yourself just to keep the peace. That's when you meet the first guardian on this path, fear. Fear is not always loud. Sometimes it wears the face of reason, now's not the right time. You need to be realistic. What will people think? But if you listen closely, fear is always protecting something, often a part of you that was once hurt, shamed, or rejected. The child within you still remembers. The first time you were laughed at for being too curious. The day you were told to be quiet, to sit still, to act normal. And so, the self you might have become was carefully packed away, hidden beneath layers of survival. But here's the truth, you are not here to survive. You are here to live. And living requires risk. It requires saying no even when your voice trembles. It means walking away from things that no longer nourish your soul, even if they once gave you comfort. It means allowing grief to wash over you for the version of yourself you can no longer pretend to be. In that grief, something magical happens. A door opens. You begin to dream again, not just at night, but while you're awake. You see signs everywhere, in the way a stranger smiles, in the way the trees move in the wind, in the old journal you found under your bed. Life begins to speak to you in symbols, metaphors, and moments of strange coincidence. And you, slowly, cautiously, begin to listen. You begin to write again. Or dance. Or paint. Or walk barefoot in the grass like you did when you were 7. You let yourself feel silly, raw, wild. You cry more often. But you also laugh with your whole body. You begin to touch life instead of just thinking about it. But the path of becoming isn't linear. Just when you think you've healed, the same wound appears in a new disguise. You meet someone, and they mirror back the very part of you that you've been trying to deny. You get angry. Or afraid. Or deeply drawn to them. And you don't understand why. This is the next teacher, the shadow. It hides in plain sight, in your judgments, your envy, your overreactions, and your secret fantasies. The shadow is every part of you you've pushed away, denied, or labeled unacceptable. Not just the dark traits, but also the brilliance you were too scared to own. Your intensity. Your ambition. Your power. And facing it is uncomfortable. You'll want to run. You'll want to say, "That's not me." But every time you deny a part of yourself, it doesn't disappear. It festers in the dark, shaping your choices, sabotaging your relationships, dictating your fears. The only way to make peace with the shadow is to look it in the eyes. Not to fight it, but to understand it. Why did you become jealous? Why did you lie? Why did you sabotage that good thing? Not to shame yourself, but to become curious. Because underneath every shadow is a story. And every story deserves compassion. You start to see that the people who trigger you the most often hold a mirror to your hidden self. That's why you can't look away. That's why they stay in your thoughts long after the moment has passed. They awaken the parts of you you've long buried. The shadow is not your enemy. It's the gatekeeper to your wholeness. And once you befriend it, slowly, gently, you stop fearing yourself. You no longer need to be perfect. You no longer need to impress. You become someone real. Flawed, but free. And in that freedom, you begin to attract differently. Not just people, but experiences. Opportunities. Moments that once passed you by. Because now, you're showing up as all of you, not just the edited version. And life notices. Eventually, there comes a silence. Not outside, but within. After the storms of self-discovery, the battles with the shadow, the shedding of masks, you arrive in a strange, still place. It's not dramatic. There are no fireworks. Just quiet. But in this quiet, something has shifted. You no longer rush to prove yourself. You no longer chase validation or try to fix others. The world hasn't changed, but you have. And so the world begins to respond differently. People around you sense it. You're not playing the same game anymore. You're not pretending, performing, or pleasing. You simply are. And that being has weight. Presence. Gravity. This is where the deeper work begins, not of fixing, but of creating. You ask yourself, what do I want to bring into this world? What legacy do I want to leave, even if no one remembers my name? Because true growth doesn't end in knowing yourself, it blossoms in expressing that self fully. Maybe you start painting again, or write late into the night. Maybe you walk more slowly, noticing the trees. Maybe you finally say no. Or yes. Maybe you stop trying to be good and just decide to be real. You realize life isn't about being untouched by pain, but being open despite it. It's not about controlling the outcome, but trusting the process. And you begin to live differently. Not because you have to, but because you can. You love more freely, speak more honestly, and forgive not for them, but for your own peace. This is the fruit of individuation, not perfection, but integration. As you walk this new path, something becomes clear: life was never meant to be a straight line. It twists, it turns, it circles back. Sometimes it breaks you. But every crack, every fracture, lets the light in, if you let it. You don't need to have it all figured out. No one truly does. The people who look like they have it all together are often just better at hiding the chaos. What matters isn't the mask you wear, it's what you're becoming beneath it. You are a process, not a product. You are a question, not an answer. And that's the beauty of it. Growth isn't about fixing what's broken, but discovering what was never truly lost, your essence. And that essence? It's not about being someone else. It's about being the you that you buried long ago under expectations, fears, and compromises. So take the time to be alone with yourself. Not in sadness, but in sacredness. Walk. Journal. Be still. Let the noise of the world fade, and you'll begin to hear the whisper of your own truth. Don't chase purpose. Let it emerge from the quiet. You don't find meaning by looking outward, you awaken it by looking inward, again and again. And when you do, life begins to meet you halfway. You start seeing patterns. You meet people who mirror your progress. You face challenges that sharpen your soul. It won't be easy. But it will be real. Let your past be compost, not a cage. Let your future be possibility, not pressure. And in this space of presence, of wholeness, of becoming, you no longer strive to be better. You strive to be more yourself. Because in the end, that is the most revolutionary act, to be fully, unapologetically, consciously you. That is how you heal. That is how you grow. That is how you live. Before you go, take a moment to breathe in and remember this: you are not alone on this path. Every day is a new chance to take one small step toward understanding yourself. One step closer to healing, to becoming whole, to living a life that truly feels like yours. If this video sparked something inside you, a thought, a feeling, a moment of clarity, then imagine what we can uncover together. Subscribe to this channel, not just to stay updated, but to stay connected. To join a space where people like you are choosing courage over comfort, awareness over autopilot, truth over illusion. Let's keep walking this road together. Because the future doesn't just happen, we shape it. One thought, one choice, one small act of honesty at a time. You are not broken. You are becoming. And your journey is just beginning.